we're looking at electricity prices increasing. Eskom being given the right to increase them as of the beginning of next month, which means it's you and me spending more just to keep the lights on, just to keep stuff around the house working, and so on. And against that backdrop, the city of Cape Town, just the other day, talking about, well, extending what was part of a pilot. I'm still trying to understand all of the subtle nuances here. Cash for power, independent power producers. I spit these terms out like I know what's going on.
Yeah.
Somebody you should know is the executive mayor of the city, Geordin. Lewis. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, team.
Right.
Lucky to be here again.
What's happening in this space? What are you up to?
Okay, so let's just talk about a few of these concepts. The first is cash for power. This is literally when the city pays people, homeowners and businesses, to buy back power that they sell us from their solar panels. That's an easy one. The slightly less easy one is wheeling. Wheeling is when, let's say you've got a big solar system on your house. I've got a company that needs power, but I don't have a solar system. I can actually, instead of installing my own system, I can go to you, Aiden, and buy the power from you because you've got excess. Wheel it, that's where the name comes, wheel it through the city's grid to me and use it. And you and me agree on a price. You don't work through the municipality's billing process or Eskom's billing process. You and I, you are the producer, I'm the customer. We agree a contract, and we pay a small fee to the municipality, to the city, for the use of our grid, to wheel it across our grid. So we started a pilot project a year ago to do wheeling in Cape Town. And we ran it for a full year. It ended at the end of December. It was a success. We are certain that the software is kind of trustworthy. The billing is trustworthy, so we can open it up, and it is now open. So anyone can wheel across our grid in Cape Town now. There's a lot of big companies already doing this. They were doing it as part of the pilot, and we think many, many more will do it now. So we are really trying everything possible. The point of all these things is there's not going to be one silver bullet solution to power security in South Africa. It's going to be a whole lot of things that you stack on top of each other. Cash for power, power heroes, another one that we're doing, wheeling, us buying our own power from independent power producers. All of it will add up over time to a point where the city is not so reliant on Eskom anymore, which is our ultimate goal.
All right, a ballpark figure of how many consumers, how many residences are part of the Cash for Power initiative?
We've already got more than 900 customers earning money from the city for Cash for Power, and it's growing all the time. And anyone who, by the way, if anyone's listening to this and they've got a big system at home that's producing excess power, please sign up. The first thing we do is we credit your entire municipal bill all the way down to zero. If it goes beyond zero, we actually we EFT you cash. So it's a really great system. So please use it. We've already paid out. We've just crossed over the 50 million rand mark to businesses and homeowners in the city that are selling us power. And the great thing is the whole city benefits. You might say, well, isn't the city paying these guys that have already got these huge panels? But the whole city benefits because we're using that power to supply power to everyone else, so we can do more load shedding mitigation. The power that we're getting from you at midday when the sun is at the highest and your panels are pumping out as much as they can, that is cheaper than the very expensive power that we're getting from Eskom's coal power stations. So everyone's actually benefiting. This is a win-win. So please sell to us.
All right. I remember, it could have been about a year ago, perhaps even longer, you were saying the mechanism through which that feedback happens. So you've got your inverter and your batteries and your panels and whatever. It's got to go back into the city's grid. That thing was almost prohibitively expensive.
It was.
And you were saying there were moves to try and bring the cost of that down. Has that happened?
We've done it, man. We've done it. Every single thing that we can to make this easier for people, we've done. So it used to be about 13,000 rand for one of those feed-in meters, a smart meter. We've cut that price by more than half, so it's just under 6,000 rand now. So really there is no inhibitor. There's no hurdle. you can participate in cash for power.
All right. So, I mean, on the one hand, you've got all of these initiatives, but then there's also electricity upgrades happening. I saw the other day a German development banker involved.
Yes.
What's going on there?
Yeah, so one of the most interesting feedback, common feedback things that I get on social media is, why is the city lending money? So we just got this 2.8 billion rand loan from the German Development Bank, which is a government bank essentially, for investment in our electricity grid in particular. And it is, the key thing about it is it's very, very cheap. They give it to us at concessional rates. So when we go and borrow from one of the South African banks, we basically pay the same price as you and I pay for like a home mortgage, sometimes even more. You won't believe it. But when we go to these concessional development banks around the world, we get extremely, extremely cheap credit, and that is very, very good for us because we can do long-term investments. That's why we're not using it for any short-term spending. We use it for long-term investments in our infrastructure network, in this case, electricity infrastructure. And you can spread the cost of that over a long time because it's a loan. You don't have to pay for it all up front. And so that's a very positive thing for the city. And that's all going into upgrading our grid so that we can take all of this new power that we are buying and move it around and wheel it and all the things that we are doing.
Lot of people complaining on the on the WhatsApp line. They don't fall within the city of Cape Town supplied area.
Yes,
I know it's been a bugbear of yours for a while. How far long is that?
So Eskom just simply cut off conversations with us. Remember, we were making a lot of progress, and then it was they just iced us, ghosted us, and so we've gone nowhere since then. I did push really hard to get an answer. Why did you ghost us? We want an explanation for that. And basically,
we acknowledge you've ghosted us. Now explain why. Yes.
So basically, they admitted there's a court case up in the north of the country. I think it's in Johannesburg. It might be Pretoria. I'm not sure. Where this matter is also currently before the court. So they did not want to basically admit to the court here in Cape Town we are handing over these areas. So why won't you do it in Joburg?
Right.
So basically, the bottom line, the impression I get is that they're not going to talk to us until that court case is done, and then hopefully once it's done, we can go back and say now let's talk. Of course, if they lose that case, we are not part of that case. But if they lose it, then we've got a much stronger hand as well. So I'm watching that carefully.
I want to know: can I benefit from this wheeling process?
You can, yeah. Well, have you got it?
As a small home, can I get cheaper electricity?
So, are you on the city's grid?
Yes, city's grid.
Good. All right. Well, so I would ask you to look forward with some excitement to our upcoming budget in March. We're tabling our budget at the end of March. I think there'll be some good news for city customers.
Okay.
Because the fact is, we are increasingly buying cheaper power from other sources than Eskom. At the moment, that's still a relatively small amount of power, but the more that we can buy, and we're trying to buy as much as we can, the more that we can buy that doesn't come from Eskom, the more that we can hopefully pass on those savings to residents in Cape Town. Because the fact is, Eskom power is just becoming totally unaffordable.
100%.
Our prices, it used to be something like R4.70 something at peak times that we paid to Eskom. That's now going up to more than R5 per unit, per kilowatt that we are paying to Eskom. Never mind what we have to then add on for the maintenance of our grid.
Exactly, all the tariffs and stuff.
So the sooner we can reduce our reliance on Eskom, the better. And I think you'll see some good news coming.
Okay, thank you. I'm very excited about that.
And just on that score, I mean, people are asking, can wheeling almost be done at residential level? I'm getting the sense from you that it probably is much bigger solar installations with a lot of available capacity. You wheel it, as the term is, through the city's transmission network, and then there's an end user who's prepared to buy that at an agreed upon price.
So there's nothing theoretically stopping it from happening at a residential level, but the question is, you're unlikely to find someone willing to sell to you because let me just take you through some of the most likely current customers and producers that we have. For example, you get a huge international data center, an Amazon data center or a Google data center that comes to South Africa, they cannot be down for even 1 second.
Yeah.
They need absolute guaranteed 24-hour power. They are doing a lot of wheeling. Another example is companies that have got shareholders that insist that their company has got green power, renewable energy. And there's lots and lots of particularly listed companies that operate globally that they're under a lot of pressure to make sure their power is increasingly renewable power. So they need their power to come not from the grid, but from solar power. So they are doing a lot of wheeling. Those are your kind of typical customers that are doing it at the moment. So it's fairly big stuff, fairly big customers and fairly big producers. Your typical producer is like a shopping mall, which has got an enormous roof, but is not using all of that power inside the mall.
Internally, yeah.
So they've got excess. So that's kind of what we're seeing at the moment. There's no reason why it cannot go down to smaller customers as well, and maybe that will happen in the future. But at the moment, it seems quite focused on fairly big customers and producers.
All right, there we go. Alternatives to what is becoming an increasingly prohibitive and an almost punitive cost just to keep the lights on in homes and businesses around the country. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
I
guys.
would like to invite you back at some point to have a conversation around the congestion in our city. We spend an inordinate amount of time on the show just trying to get people to work every day. I'm just worried. I mean, as much as we're battling now, where we're going to be in 5 or 10 years from now. Just to pick your brain on what the master plan looks like going forward.
I'm very happy to come and talk to you about that. I would just say I'm sure a lot of your complaints are from people who are stuck in congestion because of the My City construction. So we have this irony in which there's construction causing major congestion, but the point of the construction is to deal with the congestion later down the line. But you have to just wait for it to be done. And that will be done. They will construct through the whole of this year and most of next year. So it's a big project still, but it will make a huge difference once it is done. And then we must talk about rail as well, because that's the ultimate answer.
There's got to be somebody motorbikes. You know, you go to Asia, you see everybody on scooters. We just don't have that as a culture here. Lots of people are saying maybe that's a way around all of it. So, there we go. That's a conversation down the line at some point with the mayor and the brains trust of the city. What does the transportation network look like in Cape Town going forward? Appreciate your time this morning. Have a lekker day.
Enjoy it. Have a lekker day.
Thank you, Geordin.
Top class.
Thank you.
All right, we've got that was the mayor of Cape Town talking about electricity right here on Our Breakfast.